Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to share with you my full editing workflow that I use to edit wedding photography. Editing wedding photos can be a beast. After shooting a wedding day, I have so many photos to go through, so having a really good and efficient workflow is crucial. So I've done a few editing videos in the past, but after reading some of your comments, I think I can do a better job explaining how I edit photos. And I'd like to break this down into more simple terms, just so it's easy to follow. So let's get started. All right, the first step in my editing process is backing up my photos. Having a good system in place for this is crucial because you do not want to lose any important memories. So I always back up my photos to at least 2 different locations. I use an external hard drive and a cloud storage service. This ensures that I have a secure copy of each photo, even if something happened to one of the backups. Step number 2 in my process is to cull the photos. When I say cull the photos, what I mean is going through all the photos that you've taken and determining which ones are the keepers, which photos you will end up editing and delivering to your client, and which photos you will discard and not deliver to your client. So after I have backed up all my photos, I will start going through them to determine which ones I'm going to keep. So I'm going to cull them. And I can do that in Lightroom. I can go through each photo separately and take a closer look, see if there's any closed eyes, if there's anything blurry, if anything's out of focus. If something just doesn't look that great, I will not include it. So for my keepers, I could put a flag on the photo, some type of marker to designate that those are the photos I will deliver. So for this step, I actually use a separate software called Photomechanic. Photomechanic allows me to scroll through the photos more quickly, and it speeds up the culling process. If you prefer, you can use Lightroom, whatever works for you. Step number 3 is to organize the photos into different subfolders. After culling the photos and determining the keepers, I will organize the keepers into various subfolders designated for different parts of the wedding day. For example, I'll create a folder called Bride Getting Ready. I'll also have another folder for groom prep. There will be one for ceremony, reception, etc. I find that this organization helps keep things tidy, organized, and ultimately makes it easier for me to find photos that I'm looking for. All right, so step number 4 is to apply my preset that I use on all my photos, color correct, and crop the keeper photos. Once I've organized all my photos in Photomechanic, I will import them into Lightroom. Then I will apply my preset, which you can grab in the description box below if you're interested. I will also color correct all the photos and crop them. So this step involves number 1, applying the preset to all the keepers. Number 2, going through the photos and adjusting white balance. Then I will adjust the exposure and I will adjust contrast so that all the photos have a consistent look to them. I also like to crop my photos to ensure the composition looks good. And so this process can take a little bit of time, but it's a key part of the editing process. Step number 5 is where I will add finishing touches to any of the photos. So after the initial color correction and cropping, I will add finishing touches to any photos that have any specific areas that need to be corrected. This includes local adjustments like dodging and burning, or lightening or darkening certain areas of a photo. This is also where I would remove any distracting elements within Lightroom. So if there is like a pole in the distance that's unsightly, I will remove that. And recently I've been doing more skin retouching on close-up photos at this point. I can either do this manually within Lightroom using the clone tool or using a skin smoothing filter. Or recently I've been using a new AI tool called Evoto AI for retouching. This tool I find is great. It definitely helps speed up the retouching process. And if you're interested in Evoto AI, I have a few videos on my channel that dive deeper into how I use it. So if you're interested in that, please go check it out. So after I've done the local adjustments and retouching to select photos, I will move on to step 6, which is converting some of my photos to black and white. I do like to include a mix of color photos and black and white photos in all of my galleries. So for this step, I will go through all my photos and determine if there's any particular pictures that I think would look good in black and white. I'll create copies of each of those photos, and then I will use a black and white preset on the copies. For black and white photos, what I tend to look for is either strong emotions or interesting lighting. I find in those two types of scenarios, black and white photos can look really nice. So after I finish converting some of my photos to black and white, I will go through and I will rename my photos with a naming convention. So for a wedding, for example, I would name them like wedding _ 1 through 1000. I just find after I've sorted my photos into good categories, I like renaming them a consistent naming convention so that it's easier to refer to certain photos for myself and for the client. Okay, so my last step in this editing process is that I upload my keeper edited photos to a gallery. So I personally like to use Pixieset for this step. It's worked well for me and my clients have given me great feedback on it. So if you'd like to check out Pixieset, I've also added a link below where you can click on and obtain a discount. Okay, so that's pretty much my process in a nutshell. It is a long process, but I find it works for me. And once I started editing my photos this way with a consistent process, it allows me to be more efficient and allows me to find photos more easily on my computer. So there's an important point to make here. You can do the whole editing process yourself if you like, or you can outsource various parts of the editing process or the whole process to someone else. If you are interested in outsourcing, here are a few options that I've tried that you may be interested in too. Number 1 is Imagen AI. Imagen AI is a relatively new AI software that allows you to edit your images very quickly using artificial intelligence. You can train the software to learn your particular editing style. After it learns your unique pattern, you upload the images and the software will edit them according to your preferences. Imagen AI also has a culling module, which I tried recently and I found it quite effective. It does require a small subscription fee and you pay the software to edit at a very reasonable rate. I find using Imagen AI can help you expedite the whole culling, color correcting, and cropping process at a very reasonable rate. Another option, if you want a higher level of service, is private editors or editing companies. You can hire an individual or someone who works at an editing company to learn how you edit your photos and then edit your photos in your particular style. This option is a little bit more expensive than using an AI software, perhaps because there is an actual human looking through the photos, ensuring that they line up with your particular style. This is the option that I go with. I started using a company called Photographers Edit several years ago, an editing company, and I find they do a very good job and it just makes life so much easier for me when I don't have to worry about the cropping and color correcting of my photos. I personally love getting my photos edited by them and I highly recommend them. If you'd like to check them out, you can check the referral link below and try them out for yourself. Okay, the last tool that I just wanted to highlight once again is the software I mentioned called Photomechanic. So I use Photomechanic to speed up the culling process of my photos, and I find it helps me quite a bit. I purchased this software a few years ago, and for me, it's been a game changer. It allows me to quickly go through all my photos and then put a mark on the photos that I would like to keep. And I find that the images load a lot quicker in Photomechanic than they do in Lightroom, so that saves me quite a bit of time. So there you have it. That's my full editing process for my wedding photography. I use the same process for shorter sessions as well. It works well for me. So if you're finding that editing your own photos is taking too much time, consider some of the suggestions that I made earlier. Don't forget to like this video and please subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching and happy editing. Bye.